everyone, I'm Ian McCarthy of Lifting for Life, and today I'm bringing you the 15th installment of the Lifting for Life Q&A series, in which I answer your questions on video in under 5 minutes. And today I'd like to answer a question I received on Snapchat, which was, how do I recommend folks train the traps in light of the fact I have posted in the past studies which have, one in particular, which has shown that the orientation of the upper fibers of the traps is predominantly horizontal and thus largely precludes them from functioning as scapular elevators. So let's provide a little more context so that makes more sense. Traditionally, bodybuilders think that the best means of training the upper fibers of the traps is barbell or dumbbell shrugs. This is an exercise which mostly consists of elevation of the scapulae. Simply, the shoulder blades are pulled up. I think this would make really good sense if the orientation of those upper fibers of the traps were much more vertical, not to say necessarily straight up and down, but significantly vertically oriented such that in shortening they would perform to a significant degree scapular elevation. The issue is that that simply isn't the case, and I will refer you to the best study I found on the topic, which is Johnson et al., 1994. I believe they looked at 6 cadavers, and they literally looked at the actual fibers of the traps, and they discerned where they originated, where they inserted, their orientation, and thus what they are most plausibly actually able to do. Their conclusion was they are able to perform scapular elevation. And by the way, please read the study. I am probably at least slightly misremembering it, but partially because their analysis is quite nuanced. But if I recall correctly, their conclusion was the upper fibers of the traps can perform scapular elevation indirectly by rotating the clavicle, but the degree to which they're able to do this is very minimal, and they're ultimately best understood as being first and foremost, not necessarily first and foremost, but to state the uncontroversial, scapular retractors, meaning they pull your shoulder blades back, and rather than being understood as scapular elevators in addition, we should think of them as muscles which upwardly rotate the scapulae. So, and I hope that the distinction is understandable. Rather than pulling your scapulae up, they rotate them upward. So what do we do with this? My general recommendation is that folks not do barbell shrugs, dumbbell shrugs, given this evidence, which I find very compelling. Despite the fact, by the way, it is one study. I think it's such a high-quality study, it's difficult to argue with it. Indeed, if I were to hold to a different position, I would feel that I would be holding that position in the teeth of the relevant evidence. So my suggestion is to generally get rid of those exercises and perform large amounts of exercises which entail scapular upward rotation. Interestingly, dumbbell laterals do or can, depending on how you perform them. Particularly, my recommendation that I've given many times is to deliberately upwardly rotate your scapulae when performing dumbbell laterals rather than trying to lock your shoulder blades in place and perform a very strict lateral. Similarly, upright rows will do a similar thing. And additionally, it's important to recall that the upper traps, as a function of being predominantly horizontal, are still going to be strong scapular retractors. So when you do something like a face pull, just a horizontal face pull roped directly in front of you, the upper traps are still going to be stimulated effectively. However, I do want to say in the remaining 20 seconds, if you do shrugs and your traps get fucking massive, I think you should keep doing shrugs. But I think the scientific evidence indicates that probably won't happen. Thank you so much for your time. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Comment below, particularly with questions for future videos. Thanks so much. I will see you soon. Still don't have arms. Peace out.